Hello, hello, ladies. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. This is Rose Stein. Welcome to the group. Welcome to day 4 of our body reset challenge. Oh my goodness, we have been going strong, getting our mind, our bodies, our hearts all on the same level, all synchronizing for our health and our well-being. We've been getting our body moving with James in the morning. I'm about to show you some cool cooking stuff in the kitchen of ways to take the black and white kind of boringness of a food plan and make it your own. So today I'm going to show you some vegetarian options because I like that, because it's fun, because it's nutritious and delicious and wonderful. So let's get into it. And then of course, remember today at 4 o'clock Pacific time, we have our check-in. So make sure that you show up so that we can support you. Alrighty, so I'm going to turn this little Luddy around. Let's get right there is I think going to be perfect. All right, so I've got my oven on convection and it is at about 400, maybe like 410. And I am going to show you, because I never really do one vegetable at a time because I eat so many vegetables. I like to have many of them prepared and ready for me so that I'm not constantly cooking. If for whatever reason I do have because sometimes I feel like I just want warm, fresh food every meal. And if I have the time for that, awesome. I also have an air fryer, which makes things go really quickly, but I'm going to show you in the oven because that's the simplest for me. So I have this headed cabbage. We were talking about cabbage yesterday in the group in the coaching class. And apparently it's not on the list that I gave you, but you know what? It should be. In fact, all real food should be on that list. So if culturally you typically have something and you know that it's a real food, it either grows, it's got one ingredient, it's got vitamins and minerals and nutrients and enzymes and antioxidants, it doesn't have any added garbage, right? Chemicals or processed stuff or weird oils or weird sugars or anything like that, then that's awesome. Eat it. If you are curious about what the portion would be, then come to a coaching class and ask that question, right? Let me know, or even just leave it in the comments below. I'll see if I can answer that for you. All right, so I just took that cabbage, I set it on here, made little cabbage steaks, so I sliced them right in half, which is wonderful. I just put a little release spray and some salt to bring out the flavor. And also we need salt for our heart. So oftentimes what happens is that people start eating well and they lose a bunch of weight and they're eating all healthy, fresh, alive, and vibrant foods and no processed foods, and they get cold. And that was my thing, right? Your blood pressure goes down, you get cold. You don't want that. I'm going to stick those right in the middle layer. I've got 3 layers in there. And the next thing I wanted to show you before we get into some of the protein stuff is a kabocha squash. Girls, anyone who knows me, be knowing I've been loving my parsnips and my kabocha squash. They do tend to be, both of those are more starchy veggies. But I really like those because I don't have an added starch at my lunch or my dinner, but I do love some starchy veggies. So I wanted to show you how to do this. This is very delicate. So you got to be careful of your fingers, of course, right? But I'm going to come in, I'm going to go, yeah, right in the middle, and then freak the dog out a little bit. Come right in there. Ooh, yeah, woohoo. All right, so this is some kabocha squash. I'm gonna get myself a nice sturdy spoon and just scoop out the seeds inside of here. Awesome, this one looks really good. You know, as with like all natural, healthy, fresh, alive, vibrant foods that grow, they vary, right? Like sometimes, you know, an apple or orange or a banana or pear or whatever, it can be just like, oh my God, it can taste like the best thing you've ever had. And sometimes it's just kind of like blah. I remember my son, he was so upset about that one time. And I was like, man, that's kind of the deal though, right? That's the deal with nature, is that depending on the season, depending on the soil, the sunshine, the nutrients in the soil, there's so many factors that go in to the experience of the food, right? because it's not just, oh, you have the DNA to be a pear, and so you're a pear. The input matters. And you know what? We're the same. We're the same. We are natural, right? Just like everything else. We are affected by our environment, and the input changes the experience. So, what's your input, right? What are your thoughts when you wake up in the morning, when you look in the mirror, when you're getting dressed, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're thinking about your food for the day, when you're preparing your food, when you're eating your food, when you're having conversations with people, when you're sitting down, when you're walking, when you're thinking about exercise, right? All of those thoughts create an experience, right? What are we eating? What are we drinking? What are we thinking? All of these inputs. What's really powerful about becoming aware of the input, especially if we're wanting to change, right? If there is an experience of wanting something to be different, acknowledging how and why you're getting the results that you're currently getting is really powerful information, because then you know where to make a change. Then you know. All right, so this kombucha squash, ooh, girl, it is hearty, it is tasty, it is wonderful, and it's one of my faves. One of my faves. So when we're eating food and we're choosing foods, it can become really easy to get really stuck on the nutritional composition of it. And that's what I really love about the way in which my program and food plan is structured, is that you just get variety and then you don't really have to worry about it. Because all real food has vitamins, minerals, nutrients, enzymes, antioxidants, fiber, water, all different kinds, right? So as long as we're getting some good variety and we're willing to try new things, then we're going to get pretty much all good stuff that we need. All right, so same here. I'm just going to put a little spray on the top. I'm going to put some salt right on the top of this wonderful kombucha. I'm actually going to add one other little ingredient, some rosemary. Now, rosemary is, I know my mom was talking about it yesterday during the cooking show. We have probably 100 feet of rosemary in our backyard, which is so cool because all year round, we have this wonderful herb that is not only good for digestion, it's good for energy, but it makes the food taste good, right? It makes the food taste good. And so that dynamic connection that we have with our environment of things that taste good, that are also good for us, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how Mother Nature designed it, right? That's how God designed it. That's why fruits and veggies, when cooked properly, taste so darn good when they're ripe, when they're seasonal, when they're fresh, when they're local. Oh my God, it's like a sun-kissed tomato, a sun-kissed orange right off the orange tree. Oh my God, me and James totally stole an orange from a neighbor's tree the other day when we were on our walk. It was so awesome. All right, so I'm gonna actually put a little water. I'm gonna put about a 1/4 cup of water right here in the bottom. So I make sure that I have a tray with a lip, because putting veggies in here, especially ones that are super starchy like this, the oven can kind of dehydrate them, and I don't want it to be dehydrated, right? I want it to still be soft and supple. Alrighty, so yeah, I'm at about 410 right there. Okay, so I wanted to show you ladies, I'm going to be making some vegetarian hummus and garbanzo bean jicama taco shells. So fun. Oh my goodness. Let me take you over here. And let's talk a little bit about some garbanzo beans, AKA chickpeas. So this is a wonderful source of all the things that we were just talking about. Chickpeas have vitamins and minerals and nutrients and enzymes and antioxidants, fiber, water, they've got protein, they've got carbohydrates, they've got all kinds of wonderful stuff. So I'm gonna put my pan, just a little pan here. I'm gonna put it on high just for a moment. I've got a little bit of my released spray here. I'm just gonna pop that in there in the bottom. We'll Little squirt one. This one's cool because you could refill it, although I don't totally dig how it doesn't always miss the way that I want it to, but that's okay. Alrighty, so, sorry, hello. So I'm going to put inside the pan a little salt, and I am going to add some of this adobo seasoning. So this is, and you can just do it separately if you want to as well, and put whatever kind of seasonings that you want to, but it's garlic, onion, turmeric, a little lemon, a little salt. Awesome. So the idea is that, remember we were talking about this yesterday with Chef Cindy, is that you put some of the seasonings in the pan with a little bit of oil and it kind of toasts it, which is really nice. I'm also going to put a little bit of this rosemary. This is going to be a wonderful way to kind of season our chickpeas and just make them a little bit more flavorful. I really like chickpeas just the way that they are. I've been known to just pop them in my salad, just do 6 ounces of chickpeas right in my salad as my protein. But today we're just going to toast them a little bit. Okay, so you can see it's kind of similar technique, right? That mom did with the chicken yesterday. So it's like put a little bit of oil, put a little bit of seasoning, put a little bit of herbs, and then you take whatever it is that you want to cook and just pop it right in there. Awesome. Whew, sounded good. Ooh, I wish you ladies could smell that. I mean, you can imagine, right? We've got some toasting herbs and seasonings, a little salt, kind of roaming around here, and that nice flavor. All right, so I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit to like a medium to medium low and let that just kind of toast up a little bit while I show you what else we got going on here. I'm gonna go this way because we got a lot of sunlight in this kitchen, which is really cool, but it also is a little bit much for the camera. Okay, another vegetarian thing that I love, and I'm not gonna cook it all up for you right now, but I really love these lentils. Wonderful lentils from Trader Joe's. So we've got lentils, sea salt, and essential oils, which is cool. So it's got a little flavor: clove, laurel, thyme, pepper, and garlic. Right? So this is kind of a nice, it's already cooked. You can eat it cold or you can heat it up. This is a really wonderful with a little bit of sauteed mirepoix. So mirepoix is like the little chopped up carrots, onion, and celery that is typically a base for like a lot of soups and things like that. It's kind of like the basic stock. So just having this can right here, again, you can get that at Trader Joe's, saute that up a little bit, add your 6 ounces of these wonderful lentils. I really like to have my fat be coconut oil and then Mrs. Dash as the seasoning. It is an amazing combination of foods, really quite wonderful. So this here, this will give you just about almost 3 servings. And this here, of course, this is going to cook down. So this ends up being probably, I don't know, maybe 1.5. All right, so this is so cool. I actually did this a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, and it was the first time that I'd ever had these. I highly recommend them. It's really quite a wonderful way to have like a taco kind of experience without, of course, having, you know, all of the processed carbs that we really just don't want, especially if we're trying to lose weight and get our mind back in order, right? Because just the chaos of processed food and the mind and the body is just ravages. It's very, very challenging. Okay, so I got my plate. Oops, excuse me. And of course, ladies, I always got my scale, my trusty scale. All right, so I got my scale and I'm just going to zero that out. And I've got my, just give this a little swirl. Okay, those are looking super amazing. I'm gonna zero that out. Look at this. This I also got from Trader Joe's. These are called Jicama Wraps. They're thinly sliced jicama. Legit ingredients. Jicama. Woohoo! Talk to me. Talk to me. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna do, so one cool little sliced jicama, and I'm gonna place that right there. See, I need to be shorter. Oh my, okay, there we go. All right, so that is about half of an ounce. So I'm gonna do a double. I'm gonna do a double. So I'm gonna make 2 tacos that have double jicama wrap. So that is just under 2 ounces, perfect. So then I know that I'm gonna have, so it's 1.8. So I know that then I'm gonna have, to make up 6, I'm gonna then have 4.2 ounces of the squash when that's done later. So awesome. The other thing that I got, and usually I like to get these from the farmer's market, but I haven't had time to go to the farmer's market in a couple of weeks. I've just been busy doing other things. So I just got some hummus from Trader Joe's. Now, so we have our veggies done, right? So we've got some jicama wraps right here, and we've got some squash in the oven. So that's good on my veggies. And for my, I'm gonna open this. One of these days, ladies, I'm gonna have an assistant in here. You know what I'm saying? When COVID's over completely and all of that jazz, we're just gonna have to get in here and get in the kitchen together. Okay, so that's my veggie. For my fruit, I'm gonna have an apple. And for my fat and my protein, I'm gonna have garbanzo beans and hummus as my protein, and I'm gonna have avocado as my fat. So how that's gonna work is I'm going to have, so it's gonna be 2 ounces of avocado for the fat. It's going to be 3 ounces of the garbanzo bean, the sauteed garbanzo bean, right? Because a full serving would be 6 ounces. So I'm gonna do 3 of the sauteed, and I'm gonna do 2 of the hummus. Because if I was just doing hummus for my protein, it would be 2 ounces. So I split both of those in half. So let's see what that actually looks like. So I'm gonna zero it out. So that means I have 2 taco shells here. So I'm gonna do 1 ounce of hummus on each one. Ooh, I'm getting good at that. That was almost an ounce. Almost, girl. All right, so I'm spreading it out here. I need a better camera. That's what I need. All right, can we get down low? What if we get down low? What if we got down low, ladies? Let's see if that will help. Okay. So I've got my little jicama wraps. I put 1 ounce of hummus on each one. And I'm going to put 3 ounces of garbanzo beans then on each one. See how these kind of toasted up a little, and they've got the rosemary and they've got some seasoning, some garlic, some wonderful things here. Awesome. All right, so I'm just going to zero that out so it doesn't get confusing in my brain. And so that is going to be a total of 3 ounces. Whoo, perfect. Oh, yes. And then for my fat, I'm going to have some avocado. So let's take a little avocado. All right. Oops, you know me. I have to zero that out before I get all crazy here. Zero it out always makes it easier. There we go. All right, and for serving of avocado fat, a nice 2 ounces. So let's get right up underneath there. All right, a little bit more. See, remember the other day I was telling you that it's about half of an avocado is 2 ounces, and I was right. Perfect. All right, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of salsa. A little bit, and I really like this one, this roasted tomato, right? Fire peppers, so diced tomatoes, tomato puree, fire roasted tomatoes, onion, green peppers, jalapenos. So it does have a little bit of sugar, and it is the 6th ingredient. So just so you know, and if it's in the first 3 to 5 ingredients, it's a no-no, a no-go for me. All right, so as a condiment, I do no more than 2 ounces of salsa or tomato sauce. And just so you know, a nice double right on top of there is less than 1 ounce. So that's perfect. So now I've got a little hummus, garbanzo bean, avocado, and salsa little taco. I had a black plate, and then I could really see those cool jicama tortilla shells, jicama shells. Awesome. All righty. So we're still waiting for the other things to cook. I'm gonna set this beauty aside for a moment. And I'm gonna get my apple ready. I really like apples. I like to have an apple a day, right? Didn't they say somewhere along the way that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Why do you think that is? What do you think is so special about apples to where they say that we should have one every day? Maybe it was just a marketing ploy. But I really believe that real food, fresh, alive, and vibrant food, food that grows, food that Mother Nature is specifically designed for our bodies, or maybe it's that our bodies actually have adapted specifically to resonate and to thrive and function with the food that is available around us. And it just makes sense that things that grow, and of course animals, but if you are vegetarian or vegan, that's totally okay as well. I get that. But our bodies do resonate with the breaking down of animal proteins. And there is some nutritional value in that for sure. There's things that we get from animal products that we just can't get other places. But it doesn't mean that we can't in this day and age supplement. So if that's your jam and that's your passion, I support you on that. You can definitely be healthy and vibrant and alive, eating any combination really of real foods. I would recommend that you make sure that you see some kind of nutrition specialist or doctor, and make sure that all of your, your minerals and your vitamins and everything is kind of on point. All right, so the lemon, I just squeeze a little lemon. That's my favorite. I just sliced up my apple and I squeeze some lemon on it. It gives it a really nice flavor. And then the lemon you can actually use in your garbage disposal to help clean it out, and it makes your kitchen smell nice, which is cool. All right, so it's been about a little time. So let's check on our veggies in here. Oh, Beautiful. Woo, girl. All right, we've got some cabbage steaks going on in here. Looking really good, right? Got a little bit of color over there. And still a little ways to go. And we've got our squash here. Awesome. I'm just going to grab a knife and show you, because obviously you remember how intense that was cutting into it, right? And now that it's been cooking for a little while and it's got some water, you can see, whew, it's much softer. Still a little bit, right? We want it to actually, we don't want it to kind of crunch down at all. We want it to be real soft. So I'm just going to let that sit in there for a little while longer and keep on cooking. All right, so I'm going to pop into the group and see if any of you beautiful ladies have any questions. Natalia says, yummo. Totally. I don't know if you have tried this yet, this cool little taco shell stuff with this, right? With this jicama, where am I? With the jicama wrap. So you can just kind of pick it up. It's a nice fat one. I should have actually spread it out and done 4 of them. Maybe I will next time. You live and you learn. All right. So while that's cooking up, ladies, maybe we shall have a little, what shall we do? What shall we do? Should we dance? No? I would love to answer any questions that you might have. So maybe if you want to pop them in. Natalia says, no. Oh, I don't know what that was about, but I wasn't in real time with you, darn it. So I don't even know. That's like one of the things about being live and doing live stuff, is that you just don't know exactly what people were commenting about. But that's cool. All right. So yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit about just the creativity. And I'm going to give you some, just some experience and some suggestions on kind of, best practices. I have definitely found that if food is very troublesome for you, as it was for me for a really long time, my relationship with food, my relationship also with like my weight and my body, and what that meant in terms of what I was eating. Was I being a good girl today? Was I being a bad girl today? What kind of food should I eat? Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Oh, I had that. I need to go exercise now. I need to work it off. Like, there was a lot of chatter in my mind around food. There was a lot of dieting, a lot of that kind of stuff. So if food is very troublesome for you in that way, I highly recommend, as you are in this process of letting sugar and flour and processed foods move to a category outside of what it is that you're actually doing and feeding yourself in your life, I strongly encourage you to keep things simple as possible, right? And as you're writing your food down in the evening time and you're taking some time to plan and prepare success for yourself, to plan ahead of time elements of self-care that will allow you to free up a lot of space, free up a lot of thinking, free up a lot of your willpower and your energy for the day. As you are doing that, to try and keep things simple. I think that's probably why, I mean, even this is a little bit complex, right? I was like, well, 2 ounces and 4 ounces and 3 ounces and half over here and half over there. Like, to me, that makes sense because I've been doing it for so long. So I know exactly what it is that I'm doing. If you are just starting out and this is very troublesome to you and you don't really like to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, I would suggest that you just keep it simple, right? I would suggest that you just have just garbanzo beans as your protein, or just hummus as your protein, or just kind of keep it simple for yourself for now, as you are moving into having some peace of mind when it comes to food, as it begins to become automatic. That's what my health coach talks about, the automaticity of habits, which is so wonderful, right? I mean, most of the time when we're talking about habits, we're talking about things that like are habits that we want to break, right? Bad habits. And it's like, oh man, I'm frustrated. I'm doing this thing and I want to do it. And that's really where a lot of the attention and the focus goes, is to the bad habits. We have to remember all the things that we do habitually that we don't consciously think about intentionally in the moment, like blocking out other distractions and focus on this. All of those things that we do are habit, right? I lived in the same place for 10 years. And when I moved, it was just habit to drive to another place for months. I knew that I didn't live there, but I had to be conscious while I was driving, like in the moment, irritatingly conscious, or else I would just end up at my old apartment. Now, with that scenario, there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no remorse, there's no judgment. I didn't beat myself up over it. I didn't have to go exercise about it. I didn't tell myself I was being a bad girl or I was being naughty. Like all of that heaviness of the judgment that I had around my food habits is totally different when it comes to something that's not food, right? And so I remember when that happening, I was like, wow, I'm not judging I'm annoyed, obviously, right? I didn't want to go to all that. I was like, oh man, I must have zoned out, right? I must have, like, how do you drive? How do you function? How do you have conversations? How do you go places like totally in a zone? And it's because of habits, right? We get into this habitual way of being, and it's not judgy, right? There's no emotion attached to that. It just is what it is. That's the way that the brain works. The brain likes to have things that it makes sense. And as soon as something becomes so familiar that it knows what to expect next, then it can place that from the conscious mind, where we're having to think about it really intensely, to the subconscious mind, where it's just what you do. And that is the key right there. And that is why what we were talking about yesterday in the coaching call, where some of the ladies were like, oh my God, this is like actually obnoxious. Like I'm thinking so much about food. Like, yeah, I get writing it down, but then it's like, then I have to actually go through with it. Right now it's like, okay, well, oh, I have the apple, darn it. You know, I go get the apple. Wait, what was the next thing? And it feels like there's so much energy and attention and effort, focus. It's kind of like you feel like you're thinking about food more when you want to be thinking about it less. And I got to tell you, if you do this right, you only have to do it once, right? If you do this right, if you take the time, because you're worth it, you're worth the time and the energy and the effort of change. This can become habitual for you if you do it right. If you do it in the same sequence, in the same order every day, your brain will automatically recognize it as a habit, as a pattern, and it will move from the conscious part of your mind, where you're having to think about it intensely all the time and it's annoying and it's taking up a lot of space, to that subconscious part of your mind where it happens automatically. That's what we're looking for here. And that's actually one of the things that, one, doing the way that we do it and having that consistency is incredibly helpful and beneficial for you, not for me just because I said so, right? For you, understanding the way that the brain works, help us move through that learning phase. And that's one of the reasons why hypnosis has been so powerful for myself, for my clients, and hopefully for you, that you're listening to it every day, 1, 2, even 3 times a day, the morning, sometime in the afternoon, and the evening before you go to bed, is because by rehearsing in our minds, using our imagination, we can begin to create those habits and solidify them even more. Because the way that the brain processes information is through sensory input. Well, imagining sensory input is just as powerful on the brain's ability to create habits as actually doing it in real life. So again, use the power of your mind, use the power of your brain for your benefit. And no, food's not the only area that you can use this in. There's many more. But this is just the area that we're going to use the power of our own mind and our own brain to create the results that we want. Right? I mean, you're here for a reason, for a purpose. You want this to be easy and simple and natural and a matter of fact and just what you do, right? And so that you can go on with the rest of living, doing all the cool things that you want to do, right? Having all the great relationships and feeling comfortable in your body and not having anything separating between you and somebody else. Being able to go to a party and really show up and be present there, to be the mom or the wife or the lover, the sister, the daughter, the worker, right? Or the owner of a company that you really want to be. Okay, that's my spiel on that. I love you. You're amazing. Let's go check out our veggies. Should probably clean up a little bit. I got carried away talking with you ladies, which is always so much fun. And now I have a big old mess here. Okay. All right, let's clean it up a little bit so that we can pull out our veggies and weigh them up and get a really good idea of just the magnitude of food that we really get to eat and still feel good, lose weight, heal the mind, heal the body, not be running around all day hungry and starving because we've been a naughty girl. None of that. None of that. We're done with that. Bye-bye. All right, cool. So I'm just going to go this way and get this stuff out of the oven. It's got to be ready by now. It's got to be, girl. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo! So we got a little bit of color there. We've got some wonderful steamation. I don't know if that's a word, but I like it. All right. Yeah. So most of the water has evaporated. These are nice and cooked and steamed. Oh, you could smell the rosemary. You would just be in heaven. All right. So I've got my cool lunch ready to go. My little tacos here. Let me remind you, if you're just coming in, Jicama Wraps, that's what they're called. From Trader Joe's, they're called Jicama Wraps. It's just thinly sliced jicama that you can do, like, you know, make a little taco, a little fish taco, a little meat taco. I made a little vegetarian hummus with garbanzo bean, avocado, and salsa taco, which I'm super jazzed about. And I am going to put my plate on the scale, as I always do. Then I know that I am always getting enough veggies, because I'll tell you, it just happens that the first thing to go is we start eating less veggies, and then we're hungry. So what were we doing, ladies? We had, what was that? That was 1.8. So now we need 4.2. That's right. See? Sometimes you got to remember that. That's why I say keep it simple. Perfect. There it is. Wonderful, delicious, nutritious. Don't forget the apple. We've got our tacos, we've got our veggie, we've got our apple. Oh yeah, wonderful. Girl, I'll tell you what, we ain't going hungry. All right, I love you so much. Let's pop in here. Natalia, I haven't tried those, but I definitely want to. Ooh, I know the little jicama things, they're really good because they're just like, they're crunchy. It's like the perfect crunch. And then you can have whatever seasoning that you want to on it. You know, it's like so wonderful. All right, ladies, I love you so much. I hope you're having a great day. Make sure to be good to your body and just know you are creating the habits that are going to last a lifetime. So do it right, do it simple. Show up to the coaching today at 4 o'clock Pacific time. I love you. We'll see you there.